has created some pretty iconic and terrifying villains, but not everyone can be a Galactus or a Thanos. Every circus needs their clowns, and today we are counting down some of the most ridiculous villains in the Marvel Universe. Number 10. Forever Man. Forever Man is thought to be possibly the first ever mutant on Earth. His mutant ability is resurrection. No one actually knows how old he is because every time he is resurrected, he loses memories from his past life, so sometimes he's bad and sometimes he's good and sometimes he's right in the middle. Nature versus nurture debate would have a field day with this guy. Anyways, Forever Man is here because the concept of this mutant, yeah, it's pretty cool, it doesn't feel that ridiculous. However, he once tried to erase Captain America from history. What he didn't expect is that in doing that, he would also erase the entire United States. Captain America is apparently such a strong symbol for the country that if he goes, America goes with him, which is so ridiculous and hilarious and unexpected again for all parties. Forever Man ends up undoing his erasure of the US, and in the process is eliminated himself and reborn again, but this time he has all the knowledge from his past life, which is like thousands of years worth of lifetimes, and that's too much for one brain, mutant ability or not. So he went crazy and then flew a spaceship into the sun. But because of his mutant ability, he kept getting reborn on the sun until he literally turned into a plasma being made of a solar flare. He returned to Earth, was defeated by the Avengers, and reborn again, supposedly with no memory of his past. At least that's what we hope, because nobody wants to go through that again. Number 9. Brain Drain. Brain Drain is a brain with eyeballs that is kept alive by a robotic suit, which is actually just completely normal in the Marvel comic universe, I have to say. Brain Drain was originally a whole person. He was a scientist for the evil side of World War II, but then he was involved in a pretty serious crash that left his body unusable, but somehow his brain was completely fine, and also his eyeballs, because those are on there too. The crew of that crash were the ones that transported the brain into the robotic suit. Brain Drain eventually developed mind control abilities due to alien technology, but they don't work after an undisclosed distance. The villain disappeared after a while, but ended up making a reappearance in Squirrel Girl comics, which is also how you know that this villain was a little kooky, because we all love Squirrel Girl, but she herself is a little bit goofy, and that's all her charm. Number 8. 8-Ball. I love the era of 90s comics because Marvel was really just looking at random objects and saying, what if that was a villain? And that's what 8-Ball is. 8-Ball was originally introduced as a villain to Sleepwalker. He was a man who loved to gamble but didn't know when to stop. So he ended up owing a bunch of people a bunch of money, and also he really liked pool. So he took those two things, put them together, and we got 8-Ball, a villain that wears a giant 8-ball helmet on his head and commits crimes. I can't imagine wearing that helmet because it looks like it must be 100 pounds. He is 100% committed to the bit. He flies in a hovercraft with his goons along with pool ball helmets, and the hovercraft is shaped like the triangle pool rack thing. He also has explosives that are shaped like pool balls, and he fights with a cue stick. If you were to take your hobby and become a villain based around it, what would that look like for you? So let us know in the comment section. Okay, this next villain isn't as rare as some of the other names on the list, but his method of elimination is so ridiculous that I had to put him on. Bushman is a merc for hire. He loves his job, he has a terrifying tattoo on his face, and he replaced his teeth with steel. So that is the vibe we are working with. This man, I think it is safe to say, is a freak. Don't believe me? Even with the provided evidence? Well, he eliminates his targets the same way a vampire would, but he's not a vampire, he's just a freak. Does he do it that way every time? No, but he did outfit his mouth with steel teeth. So I would say it's a frequently used tactic, and also a completely ridiculous one. At number 6, we have Airwalker. Airwalker was a herald of Galactus, and his outfit is walking the tightrope between completely iconic and completely ridiculous. He almost reminds me of the original Calendar Man design from DC Comics. Airwalker became a herald willingly, which is pretty uncommon, but it ended up really working in his favor because he became one of Galactus's favorite heralds and got to hear all his super cool stories about the universe because, well, he actually cared. In fact, when Airwalker did meet his end in battle, Galactus created a perfect android replica of him and transferred the man's consciousness into it. So the concept of Airwalker, it's pretty neat and it's not that ridiculous, it's just really the outfit. I mean, when you compare it to the look of Silver Surfer or even lesser known heralds like Stardust, I fear Airwalker's just not on the same fashion level. Halfway through, number 5, Number 1 Fan. Number 1 Fan wanted to avenge his brother, and he decided that the best way he could achieve his end goal was by replacing his arms with blades. Now personally, I would have gone about this differently, but to each their own. The X-Factor villain eventually realized that he couldn't function like a regular person anymore. He couldn't open doors, he couldn't pick up a phone, he probably couldn't eat really because he replaced his hands with swords. He was ultimately the reason for his own demise. He tried to like smack himself in the head, and again, knife hands equals that smack split him in half. The whole bloodline is cursed because I think his cousin cousin then tried to avenge him, and he ended up also getting eliminated by a car. Number 1 fan did have a wacky look to go with his wacky brain, the classic white hair that pokes like a foot out the side of his head, and a crazed look in his eye. Number 4, Puzzle Man. Technically there's 2 puzzle men out in the Marvel universe. The first was never really expanded on. He's part of a contest for Marvel's Fun and Games book to create a mascot for the book. The winner was never actually announced, but that's where this guy with the magical pencil popped up, and later we got an actual villain, Puzzle Man. He was the puzzle maker for the Daily Bugle, so he's responsible for like the Wordles of the Marvel universe. He ran an app for the newspaper, and the app kept crashing, and he blamed those tech issues on Spider-Boy for some reason. He carries around that magical pencil, and the eraser end can literally just erase things from existence. He threatened to erase a photo of Spider-Boy and his mom unless Spider-Boy played the game, which Spider-Boy did do, and then the picture was erased anyways, so Spider-Boy kind of crashed out, and that was the last time we saw Puzzle Man. His pencil was snapped and he lost his powers. Number 3, Jazz. Jazz is a mutant. He looks like a Smurf, and that's his mutant ability. He has blue skin. He has no other known powers. In fact, the only thing listed on his character wiki under abilities is mediocre rapping skills, which is so funny. He's blue and can't rap, and that is his whole deal. I mean, with time, could he have improved his rhythm? Probably, but he didn't get a lot of time. He was one of the only mutants that survived M-Day with his mutation intact, but he was involved with some shady people and peddling some shady substances. He caught the attention of fellow mutant Johnny D, the one with the sentient maw that makes voodoo dolls, and he got a doll of himself made, and when that doll was done in, so was he. Mediocre rapping skills and all. Number 2, one of my favorite but also very much least favorite villains Marvel has ever come up with, Xenos. He's a giant rat in every sense of the word. Bad person, bad look, bad vibes, just evil, evil, evil man. His name, Xenos, does in fact come from the word meaning intolerance against people from other countries. Further than that, he also has a scrapbook dedicated to Zitler and a model of his town in his basement where he keeps a bunch of rats that he dressed in little doll clothes and talks to. He also disguised himself as Moon Knight and attacked the Japanese trade minister, which started a manhunt for Moon Knight, while Moon Knight was hunting down this rat man with scrambled eggs for brains. So yeah, in the end, Moon Knight had to fight the hundreds of rats from Ratman's basement, and this man dressed as a giant rat. Ratman stepped on a mousetrap, ironically enough, and that gave Moon Knight the opportunity to subdue him. The entire comic was a wild ride from start to finish, and to this day is one of the most insane stories I have ever laid eyes on. And finally, number 1, The Wall. From the wacky world of Spidey super stories is a nightmare of epic proportions, The Wall. The Wall is not a nightmare because of what he is. I mean, okay, it would be pretty unsettling to have a brick wall running at you full speed, but I would argue how he became a brick wall is 100 times worse. Literally, a wall just fell on him and the bricks fused to his body like the atoms matched up, which is something that science has theorized could maybe slim chance happen, and I do live in a rational fear that one day I'm just gonna fall through the floor, so I do really hate that this has technically happened in the Marvel Universe. Thank goodness the Marvel Universe is not real. He ends up fighting Spider-Man at the baseball field on Spider-Man's day off. Obviously, they are both kicked out of the event, and Spider-Man manages to talk the poor wall down. Thoughts and prayers to the wall. I hope that Tony Stark or Reed Richards is working overtime and super hard to undo the disaster that your life has become. But what do you think? Let us know in the comment section who is your favorite Goofy villain. Do you want the DC version? I look forward to reading what y'all have to say. Thanks for watching. Bye, nerds!